You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle. Hey everybody, Jim Chester here at the Chiro Hustle podcast. This is an afternoon edition. And today I have Dr. Josh Lawlor coming in from near the Quad Cities, not quite where Palmer College of Chiropractic is, but 15 minutes north of there in Eldridge, Iowa. And I am coming in from Grand Junction, which is in the Grand Valley on the western slope of Colorado, where I moved here because I wanted to hear the birds chirp. And before we jump into it, Dr. Josh, this episode is brought to us by Zingit Solutions, and Zingit Solutions is a quick way for you to integrate text messaging protocols into your staff, into your office, to get people to show up more and to be able to communicate with the practice members easier. So with that being said, if you guys are interested, I'm going to flash up onto the screen Zingit Solutions website, which is Zingit Solutions /Chiro Hustle if you guys are interested in reaching out to Steve Weber. But thank you, Zingit Solutions, for sponsoring this episode of Chiro Hustle Livestream. And with that being said, welcome to the show, Dr. Josh.
Hi, Jim. Good to see you.
Hey, thanks for being on the show. I know your episode performed really well, and I just wanted to do a follow-up discussion with you, kind of talking about who Dr. Josh is, how you got involved in chiropractic, and where you are right now and what's happening in the future. So before we jump into the trilogy of questions, tell us a little bit about who Dr. Josh Lawlor is and your backstory.
I'm originally from the Quad City area. I grew up just north of here, about 45 minutes in Goose Lake, Iowa, and the gentleman that I trained with in chiropractic is the chiropractor who wrote my letter to get to Palmer College. He's also the guy that fixed me, So my chiropractic story starts probably when I was young. My parents got into chiropractic and then slowly got the family under care. And as I got into college, I started to have some trouble with my lower back. And a gentleman by the name of Larry Troxel is who fixed me up, got me out of trouble. And he's actually the one that sat me down and talked me through chiropractic, explained to me what was going on with my spine. He explained that if I didn't get serious about taking care of it, me personally, no one was ever going to get it fixed. And he said, if I got serious with it, he'd get serious with it. And that was history. It took about a year and a half, and I had some very good results over time. And I'm, spinally speaking, I'm better than I've ever been right now. And so that's progressed on. So I got into Palmer College, and while I was down at Palmer College, then I got into Dr. Troxel's intern program, which I didn't realize it. I had no idea who was taking care of me at the time, but I was very blessed to have him and his wife, Dr. Pam, both be my chiropractors and mentors. Come to find out, there's this large chiropractic community in the Gonstead world, and I slowly attritioned right into that process, and I've been involved with it ever since. We continue teaching Gonstead Chiropractic in our clinic. We've got, I think, some 15 interns right now. And so it's been great. It's just been a wonderful chiropractic process for me.
Yeah. And, some of the things you said there just make sense. And a lot of times I found that chiropractors get into chiropractic as a profession because in their late teens or their early teens, they had some type of situation with athletics, or might have been even college, that they had some type of situation where they're looking for a solution out of their situation with, some type of a back issue or a neck issue. And then they figure out, because there is a good principled chiropractor that explains to them, hey, this is what chiropractic is, and this is why you need to get care. And then takes time to talk to their parents as well to let them know, hey, if your kid wants to have a future in athletics, they might want to start taking care of their spine right now.
Yeah, it was interesting that you say that, because interestingly, my mom was involved in that conversation. As I was actually playing ball in college, and my intention was I was looking into medical school. I sat through the MCATs. I considered physical therapy. I was actually thinking about teaching too, because I like to coach. Little did I know I'd be teaching my entire career. And anyway, mom calls Dr. T up, and she knew I was having trouble playing ball with my lower back, and she goes, what's going on with Josh's back? Why is he having all this trouble? And Dr. Troxel goes, "What do you want me to do? He's never here," which was very true because, of course, back then I was this very intelligent individual. I knew all these things in life and what should be going on. And so it really took an event in my life that I remember specifically one practice. I played practice hard. I'd been sore and I laid down on the floor afterwards. I was resting, trying to recover from the practice. Couldn't get up off the floor. And a buddy of mine named Andre Childs from the Chicago area, he helped me back to my grandfather's house where I was living. And that's when I drug my less educated mind into Dr. T's office and was actually ready to listen to what was going on. So that's how that actually played out. Sometimes the good Lord's got to use a bigger stick to hit you over the head to wake you up a little, I suppose. So yeah, it was a great blessing though.
And, as you got to know Dr. Larry Troxel, how has that bloomed your future, and how have you taken that torch and run with it to help lead in that Troxel intern program?
I tell you what, that's an interesting question. I would say that it's formed it in such a very solid way I can't begin to tell you. His idea of chiropractic was he was not satisfied with the notion that, you help the vertebra and it will just go home. He learned from the greatest, Dr. Gonstead, Clarence Gonstead, in terms of finding and accepting what you find and correcting subluxations. And Dr. Troxel really, really took that to heart, and all the interns that worked and studied under him, he really laid that down. And not only when he was teaching you, he allowed us into his office to watch him operate that way with patients day in and day out. And I can tell you from experience, when you've got people watching you, especially educated people, as these young people go through Palmer College and they're learning about chiropractic, where they're sharp and they're paying attention and they're watching to see, are you doing what you teach? And they not only on one adjustment, they're watching on all the adjustments. They want to know, are you actually running that scope the way that you taught me to? Are you looking for the reading? Are you confirming what your hands are telling you on the patient with what you're seeing on the film? Not just, once in a while, every visit on every patient. And he instilled that in not only me, in thousands of chiropractors. And that probably is the greatest influence that he had on me as a chiropractor. Outside that, just being, he was just a fun guy to be around. He was passionate about chiropractic. He was late in his career, he'd get down on his hands and knees just to help someone hold their elbow just in the right spot. And he'd work with them for a half hour on one little thing until they were satisfied that they got that part.
And something you said there that sparks maybe a controversial question that I'll throw out to you, and I'm sure it's one that you can easily catch and work with. I know that there's been recent noise out there about chiropractic and X-ray, and some groups are cheering for anti-X-ray almost. And why would you say that that's even included into the way that people are viewing chiropractic, and why is it so important to X-ray based on what you've been experiencing with your career?
Is that really a conversation going on right now, Jim?
Yes.
I'm joking with you. No, I tell you, to me, it's not a controversial issue at all. If chiropractors decide that they don't want to practice with an X-ray, that's for them to decide. But this is the way I'd explain it to you.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle Live. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Universal Traction Systems, Vantage Point Marketing, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Chiro Thin, Dr. Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, and Everest Chiropractic Bootcamp. Let's hustle.
Similar thing with sometimes we get controversy about running an instrument. See, the Gonstead system's 5 parts. It's not just X-ray, but it's a very important part. And I can tell you, anybody that's worked with X-ray with any clinical experience, 10 years plus, especially 20 years plus, they'll tell you it's a vital part of not getting people well, but getting the tough ones well. BJ Palmer said himself, you can take a 2x4 and hit someone upside the head, and 80% of them are going to get better, Jim. But that doesn't give us a green light to do whatever we want. So in the Gonstead work, you've got history. We want to know what's going on with the patient. You've got palpation, motion, and static. You've got instrumentation. You've got visualization. and we've got x-ray. We've got 5 components to tie all that stuff together to find that one unique thing in the subluxation. And so it's not the end all be all, but it's a huge part of those 5 things. And when you pull all that together with the same patients over time, the quality of care goes up drastically. So the conversation that you're talking about, it's important, and I understand the other side where they're coming from. But I think many times, what I would suggest you do is talk to some Gonstead practitioners that have used those films for 20 years, just like me, and I've been 20 years, been 13. But we come from a place of experience and utilization and the outcome assessed with them. So, I think that's a very important thought when you're having those controversial conversations. Very often, the people that say don't X-ray, the only time they would take an X-ray is they're looking for a fracture or pathology. Well, that's not what chiropractors utilize X-rays for. It can be if you suspect a fracture. I had a gentleman in yesterday. He fell on the bunk of his cattle feeder. He slipped. He says, I've done it thousands and thousands of times, but he stepped on one cow pie, foot slid, bang, down he goes. Comes in with mid-back pain, take a new film, and he's got a fractured rib. 11th thoracic, clear as day. Dr. Brittany comes in and says, he's got a fractured rib. I said, thank you, Dr. Brittany. He came in, we talked about it, we checked him. I said it, nice and gentle, not the rib, subluxation, and he went about his business. I discussed his options, what he could do, if he needed to see any other practitioners, and away we go. So X-rays are used in many ways, but when we talk about subluxation-based chiropractic, when you refer to principal chiropractic, BJ would refer to having the chiropractic adjustment with that something extra, Jim. You know what that's it? You know what that extra is?
The X-ray?
No, it is not the X-ray. It's partially the X-ray. It's the analysis.
Okay.
That's the extra. So the X-ray is only part of it, but it's the analysis and finding what needs to be adjusted and how. And that's why the X-ray is important.
And something you said there, I've been involved with the Gonstead groups now for the past year, and the Gonstead Guardians with Tom Potisk. And understanding the specificity, I think that was something that Gonstead was famous for, was finding the specificity and setting it with the correct line of drive and the proper force behind the adjustment. Yeah. And talk to us a little bit about the specificity within the Gonstead adjusting method.
Well, Dr. T used to say you need to have, number one, the right bone, then you have to have the right listing, and then you have to have the right table. So, for example, you've got 26 movable segments. You might establish that the 5th lumbar is the most important vertebra to be adjusted, causing that patient's particular condition. Then you got to figure out what's the best way to adjust it, not just mobilize it. But if it's stuck or subluxated in a specific direction, then there's a best line of drive or vector to reestablish the relationship with that bone and the bone below it. So that vector, the more specific you can be, the better the outcome the body will do with that particular adjustment.
And then that gives you a better capability of communicating the chiropractic method to a potential patient as well, because now you know a correction plan for them to be able to help them with that subluxation, correct?
Absolutely. Patients, in the end, patients want one thing and they want one thing only. They want help. All people were put on this planet for a purpose, whatever that purpose is. Your purpose is to hustle chiropractic down the futuristic road, right? Chiropractor's purpose is to find and correct vertebral subluxation. And the reason that we do that is so patients can go out and do what they were designed to do. It's literally that simple.
Yeah, that's great. So I know that we're coming up on the edge of our time together, but let's talk a little bit about the involvement that you have with the various Gonstead groups up there in Mount Horeb.
I tell you, there's a few groups in particular. There's several groups that teach seminars, but the Gonstead Foundation, Tom Potisk is the president of that currently. They're the ones that take care of the Gonstead Clinic itself, historical building. He heads that foundation. Then there's the Gonstead Clinical Studies Society. It's a research arm of the chiropractic world in the Gonstead system. Gonstead.com is their website. And then the group I teach with is Gonstead Methodology Institute, an outstanding Gonstead seminar. We teach 5 seminars a year. And then, of course, there's the Gonstead Seminar of Chiropractic. They teach Gonstead seminars all around the world. So there are several very, very good groups. One other gentleman, Dr. Herb Wood's been currently teaching seminars. In fact, he just held one over, and you met Herb up at the extravaganza.
Yep.
He just held one over in Korea, their first one in Korea. Outstanding. So really cool stuff going on, Jim.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's really cool to see the footprint of Gonstead being so well represented, and to know that there was a legacy built by that guy up there in Mount Horeb that saw people day in, day out, and now has created one of these this almost magnetic personalities in the chiropractic space because of his ability to check, analyze, and correct vertebral subluxations at such a high caliber.
Yeah, I tell you what, I have a good mentor of mine, Rod Campbell. He said Dr. Gonstead was a very loving man. When he was checking people, he was there 100% with that patient. And his job was to figure out, is there something I can do to help you today? And he got very good at it. And that's why we study his work. So as a Gonstead practitioner and part of the Gonstead world, we're very proud to do our part in chiropractic. You know, there's many methods in chiropractic, but there's only one chiropractic. And we Gonstead people, we're very proud to be a big part of it. So it's cool. It's on the rise. It's for sure on the rise, Jim. You watch.
Yeah, it's exciting to be a part of too. And thank you for inviting me into the Gonstead family. It's been really a blessing for me to get to know the characters involved and to meet the people like Herb Wood, who have been in the trenches for years, that are carrying torches out there, you know, supporting principled chiropractic. So I think it's really cool to be able to see what you guys are doing. Are there any websites that you would like to drive people to if they want to get involved with the GMI or the Gonstead Institute?
The GMI website, Gonstead Methodology Institute, is gonsteadmethodology.com. And so you can look us up at that website. You could also search the TroxelInternProgram.com. You can find them at my website, LawlorFamilyChiropractic.com. And then the GCSS website is gonstead.com. And those are all good networking deals. Anything you got, you can always email me, Jim, JLawlor at LawlorFamilyChiropractic.com. I answer any questions anybody's got. So
awesome. Well, I thank you so much for being a part of our live stream today and to follow up on your episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast. And is there anything I didn't ask you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
No, just keep turning the crank, Jim. I know you like Chiro Hustle, but I like to say turn the crank. You're doing a great job, buddy.
Hey, thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and close out by thanking Steve Weber with Zingit Solutions again. His website is going to flash on our screen here in about 1 second if I can get our names to disappear. And there's your website for Zingit Solutions. If you want texting, mobile communications with your office to your patient base, reach out to Steve Weber at Zingit Solutions /Chiro Hustle. And with that being said, I thank everybody for being a part of this live stream. And if you guys found some value in this, hashtag value in it. If you're watching this on replay, please push hashtag replay into the comments there so we know that you watched it. And if you guys do have questions or any type of response that you would look for from Josh or myself, please reach out to us personally, and we will definitely follow up with you and let you know if there's anything that we can help you with. And just want to say one more time, thank you, Dr. Josh Lawlor, for spending some time with me today. And just want to say have a great day.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. We'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Chiro Hustle Live. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.